Welcome to the Pulsating Biology, where we were covering the topic transport in humans for the Olevels biology. Before we dive into the topic, first we need to understand the term circulatory system. Circulatory system is basically related to all kinds of the vertebrates. For example, human beings. In human being, blood is used to transport various substances from one part of the body to another part of the body, and this flows continuously around our body. What happens is that this is entirely a closed system, and in a closed system, there are several substances, several components that are present. For example, arteries, veins, arterioles, venules, and the blood capillaries. All of them combines together and make up a closed system that in turn is called as a or it helps us in the blood circulation. So let's understand how the artery works and the veins work when it comes to the circulatory system. When you talk about the artery in term of the veins, we say that the arteries takes the blood away from the heart, whereas the veins take blood to the heart. So this is the first main difference that you need to understand. Secondly, the major component that basically joins the artery and the vein is termed as the capillaries. Here the tissue fluids are present. When you talk about the capillaries, we know that the capillaries are microscopic blood vessels that are found between the cells and almost all kinds of the tissues. Alright, what occurs when you talk about the artery and when you talk about the vein? We're going to learn about the differences about artery and a vein in a much more detail. Let's talk about that. When you talk about the artery, you need to understand that arteries have thicker walls as compared to the veins. When you talk about having a thicker wall, we need to understand that since all the arteries arise from the aorta, all the artery arise from the aorta, and all the aorta, like obviously a single aorta, arises from the left ventricle. Since we say that the left ventricle have thicker wall as compared to the right ventricle, since this have to pump the blood to the entire body, we say in turn that the arteries have thicker wall as compared to the veins. Veins have thinner walls. Another very major difference is about the presence of valves. Valves are present in the veins, and the valves play a very important role. Valves prevent the backflow of the blood. When you talk about the artery, the valves are absent and no valves are present in the arteries. Other than that, we need to understand that the arteries pump more amount of the blood and in a high pressure than the veins. This is the third. Other than that, when you talk about the arterioles and when you say the term venules, the students often confuse in the arterioles or the veins. Venules, the arteries branches again from tiny tissue vessels that tissue vessels are known as the arteries. Have a look at this. This is a single vein or the single artery. This is a single tube that is termed as the artery. Whenever it bifurcates into two, the arteries branches again from tiny vessels, then they are called as the arteriole. This is the artery. Whenever it bifurcates into two and divides into two, or you can say branches into two, we say that these are termed as the arterioles. Similarly, have a look at this. This our vein. That is single tube is termed as the vein, but when it bifurcates into two, or basically it branches into two, then we term it as the venules. So you have understood the concept of artery, vein, arteries, and venules, and also the capillaries. So artery takes the blood away from the heart, and the veins take the blood towards the heart, and capillaries connect both the arteries and the veins together. Another difference for the kind of the blood that is transported from the artery away from the heart and the vein towards the heart is that artery carry oxygenated blood, whereas the veins carry the deoxygenated blood away from towards the heart. So these are the two arteries and the vein that basically carry the blood. The artery carry the blood away from the heart, while the vein carry the blood towards the heart. Artery carry the deoxygenated blood, except for the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery is an exception that basically carries the deoxygenated blood. Whereas when it comes to the vein, we say that the veins carry deoxygenated blood except for the pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein. We say that the pulmonary vein is the exception that carries the oxygenated blood from the lung to the heart. So we have understood the overall concept and the difference between arteries and the veins. Let's summarize it in such a manner that artery takes the blood away from the heart, and all the arteries arise from the aorta. Aorta itself arises from the left ventricle. The artery carries the oxygenated blood, whereas vein carries the deoxygenated blood. Arteries have a thicker wall. Why? Because left ventricle has a thicker wall. That term makes the arteries having a thicker wall. That's why they can the blood that transport through the artery have a higher blood pressure as compared to the veins. When you come on to the exceptions, we say that the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood and the pulmonary veins carries the oxygenated blood. This is the major difference when we talk about the arteries and the veins. Now, the question arises that since the artery, veins, venules, and arterioles along with the capillaries makes up the entire circulatory system, so how much percentage of blood is present in each of them? For example, when you talk about the 30% of the blood in your systematic circulation will be found in the arteries. From the 100%, we say that the 30% is found in the arteries, 5% is found in the capillaries, and almost 65% is found in the veins, or you can say the venules. This is the percentage composition about the human circulatory system.